start recording until I was already way into it, but Abigail Larson had this tutorial through DeviantArt where she talks about how she makes her bat wings, her demon wings. And the reason I wasn't recording it when I first started playing around with it is because I thought it would either be much harder or that it just wouldn't be the look I was actually going for.
You thought you were going to play for 5 minutes and set it down, not that it was going to become a thing.
But I just instantly liked what I was doing. Oh, I should record this.
It looks really good.
Thank you.
Already, it looks really good.
See? So, there really wasn't a sketch beforehand. There wasn't, like, a first layer. This was the first layer.
You just drew wings and said, what goes on the wings?
Right. I was going to do a whole page of just wing shapes and then went, no, this is what I want, actually. And decided it would be a fly. So...
I like how orby he is.
Also, the way I draw circles is really silly, but it works. Just do a bunch of scribbles and then erase what I don't like and call it done.
Yeah, it's a good way to do a circle.
And then I decided that his angle should change.
It's a good idea.
And,
it's looking great.
And I futzed with the pupil a little bit because, in reality, since the pupil is a hole, it kind of is set back a little bit, but that doesn't always look great when I try to draw it that way, so...
Yeah. It's a very subtle effect.
Yeah, it's got a tail. And these are my flies.
Where are the flies from?
I don't know if I didn't draw them before Oh Heldana, or if I had doodled them beforehand.
They kind of became their own thing in Oh Heldana, where they started getting their own, like, vignettes.
And personalities.
Yeah.
So this... I didn't have to do it this way. I made the line so thick on the tail that at first I thought I was gonna just slim it up, and instead it was, oh, what if I turn this into texture? This took forever.
This looks really nice, though. That's a really good, like, what's it called when you 3Dify?
Texture? Or
depth.
No,
It does really good at depth.
Thank you.
It also looks very much like a worm.
Yes. Which is not my favorite thing in the world, but I'll allow it for the flies.
The flies get to be a little wormy.
Yeah.
Because they're not worms. They have eyes. They have a
exactly.
front.
They have a face. Face. Well, for them it's a face.
Listen, one eye can be a face.
And I know that the flies did wind up having their own little personalities, like you were saying before. Initially, they were like how Zippy is a forearm with an old man face for an elbow. Or the elbow had the... Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He came from a nightmare, and I woke up and had to draw him because he was horrible. But my idea was that he was like a demon that wasn't complete, like he just came out unfinished and there was supposed to be more to him, but all that came out was the arm. And that the flies would be similar, that there were going to be entire demons out of them, but all that came out was an eyeball with wings.
They basically 5% downloaded and failed.
Yeah. Yeah, I consider flies little failures, but I love them.
That's what makes them adorable.
Yeah. And he wound up kind of gory. I like the idea of him being damaged.
I did notice that. You don't typically do the ripped wings with flies, but...
Yeah, I don't typically do this much detail on anything, actually. But I wanted to, because I liked what Abigail Larson was doing, and I wanted to see if I could do something similar.
You had to go through the whole process to do the recreation.
Yeah. And it didn't wind up looking like hers anyway, but it was inspired by.
Yeah.
And just a little bit more leathery, bat-like texture to it. Wanted as many shapes as possible. Trying to figure out where the light is hitting and where the light is coming from. And
everything's a curve.
Yeah.
It's very nice.
Thank you.
Because the whole thing a fluid look.
Little highlights.
That's really good.
It's once again...
The way you're working the colors together, that's really nice.
Thank you. It's once again a moment where I could have decided where my light source was actually coming from, and I just went, upper left.
Well, light exists. That's...
Yeah.
Sometimes that's all you need.
I used to draw a little sun in a corner and go from there.
Oh, the classic old, like, remember your light source.
Yeah. This was your idea. You said a bottle.
Well, you were just like, he needs more. I was like, well, if it's a scene, he could be coming out of a specimen jar.
Yeah. And so I went with that. And the bottle was much harder to draw than the fly and the wings.
Yes.
Drastically harder.
Because it's like translucent, it warps what's behind it.
Well, and the perspective. Because I wanted it to be tipped over.
Yeah.
But I hadn't decided where the ground was yet. And he's a fly, so he's just hovering in the air, so he doesn't matter in terms of where everything else is.
He can be wherever he wants.
So I had to... And I know I could have used references. We have bottles. We have neat bottles. But I didn't.
We are our entire witch shelf downstairs that catches the light. We just put glass bottles on it.
Yeah, but I didn't. So instead this is just from my brain. Which I'm not saying to flex. I'm saying don't do this, kids. Use references.
Don't be like me.
Your entire world will be easier if you just use a reference.
We always say use references, and then we're just like, I don't want to stop and get a reference, though.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. Sometimes, if I know what I'm doing beforehand, I will collect my references beforehand, and then I'll have, like, a collage next to me on the other computer screen. But in this case, I didn't, because I didn't know what I was going to be doing at all, in any respect. Here's me trying to...
I never know what I'm doing at all, so...
Just in life?
Yeah. Just all of it. I'm trying so hard, I have no idea.
Fixing up the tail.
Looking good.
I want it to be kind of curling within the bottle.
What's the artistic thing where it's just the curve, the seashell looking thing?
The
Golden
ratio? Yeah.
Where it looks like a conch shell?
Yeah.
Kind of belies that with the curve.
Yeah.
Once he's back, you can see it better. Hey, look at that.
Trying to fix things up.
Looking so good.
Thank you.
Getting out the bottle.
And I wasn't sure if his wings should go above or behind, so I had to pick.
I think my suggestion was in front of because he's coming out.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you ended up doing.
Yeah. Rather than trying to stuff himself in.
Yeah.
And that the top had to go farther back eventually.
Yeah.
Tried to put a reflection from the glass itself, what that color is, onto the eye.
Oh yeah, little subtle effects. You are so good at art.
I'm not. Thank you, though.
No, you
Thank
are.
you. I appreciate.
You are. You have a lot of good thoughts with art, and normally I just I drew shapes, and then I just kept drawing until I was sick of it. But you have all this like theory, and just like, well, the glass will reflect light onto the eye.
How often do I use it, though?
The light sources. Well, you know it all, so it comes together.
I appreciate that. I have been trying to push my drawings a little bit more.
The shadow he's casting, like, look at that. That's amazing.
Thank you. And I wasn't sure... I play around with the tail a little bit, because I wasn't sure how much blue should be on the tail to show that it's inside. This was... I don't know, it's not a cheat, I guess, if it was mine to begin with. I drew this background for your card game.
Yep, which we still have to playtest now that we made all those changes to it.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of games that we need to playtest, actually.
So, the card game is Plague Doctor. So I drew a bunch of things.
Yeah, we kind of... we put that on hold because 2020 was...
right.
Yeah, it seemed insensitive.
Right. But the point is, I drew a lot of things, including a bunch of leeches and jars, and just tools that a Plague Doctor would have had. And this is the shelf/box that each of the items is sitting in for each of the cards.
Yeah.
So I just used this box because...
It's not cheating.
This could be another item.
It's using what we have.
You know, if we ever do an expansion...
There was an animator on YouTube recently who talked about how he recycles as many assets as possible because, like, he already has a cityscape. Yeah. Why would he order another cityscape when he could put his time and energy into a different thing?
Yeah, so that's what I did.
Yeah, that's exactly. Because no one's going to recognize, no one's going to be like, in years, be like, use the background from Plague Doctor.
And maybe this will be some kind of extension, and maybe you can have a flying eyeball, or it'll be about the jar.
Yeah.
So this was the final piece.
Looks really good.
Thank you.
That is so amazing. Look at the texture and the lights and the... Just great.
Thank you. For something that I did just randomly, I'm pretty happy with this.
I can remember I came home because I was out. I had to go out that day, and I came back, and you're like, I spent way too long on this.
Oh yeah, hours of my life. Just an entire day of my life.
But look at the results.
I'm happy with it.
Yeah.
So, thank you for joining me on this one.
Of course. I have been frazzled, so I haven't had a chance to do art, so I appreciate that, like, you picking up the reins on this and having a recording that we could use.
If I'm gonna be doing it anyway, might as well be content.
Content is content.
So rock on.
Alright, we are slaves to your pleasure. Rock on.